Welcome to The Fame, your go-to source for all the latest buzz around the Duggar family and more. We've got some major stories to unpack today, and trust me, you don't want to miss a second of it. First up, we're diving deep into the speculation swirling around Jana Duggar. She's finally stepped out of the Duggar household and moved to Nebraska with her new husband, Stephen Wissmann. What does her departure mean for the rest of the family? Jana's been like a second mom to her younger siblings for years, so her exit could signal a massive shift in the family dynamic. Could this be the start of something bigger for the Duggar? Next, we're tackling a hot topic. Who's next in line for a Duggar courtship? Jana may have just tied the knot, and Jason is now engaged. But what about James, Jackson, and Johannah? Fans are buzzing about whether we'll hear a courtship announcement soon. Stick around as we break down all the fan theories on who might be next to say, "I do." And finally, we've hit a shocking milestone. It's been 1,000 days since Josh Duggar was found guilty of his heinous crimes. That scandal rocked not only the Duggar family, but the world. We'll reflect on how this has impacted the family and Josh's life behind bars. But before we wrap up, let's take a trip down memory lane. Remember that super awkward moment from Counting On when Ben Seawald asked Jessa Duggar to court, styrofoam cups, Duggar traditions, and all the teenage awkwardness you can imagine? But was Jessa more into the idea of getting married than actually marrying Ben? We're going to break it all down. So hit that like button, subscribe, and let's dive into the latest Duggar drama right here on The Fame. As the eldest daughter, Jana has long been known as the caretaker of the Duggar clan, taking on significant responsibilities in raising her younger siblings. Reddit users recently discussed the potential fallout of her absence, with many sharing their own experiences of how families can destabilize when the eldest daughter finally moves out and no longer fills that caretaker role. One Redditor shared, "This just hit me like a ton of bricks because holy shit did my family fall apart not even a year after I moved out. I just never connected the dots before." This sentiment reflects the belief that Janas Departure could leave a significant void in the Duggar household where her second mother role had become a cornerstone of daily life. Several comments explored how this dynamic affects not only the parents, but also the younger siblings. "Are you saying that without Jana, the house will fall apart?" one user asked, while another added, "No lies detected. Hani will have some work to do now," referring to one of the younger Duggar daughters who may now have to take on some of the responsibilities Jana shouldered for years. Critics of the Duggar parenting system, where the eldest daughters are often expected to take on parental duties, chimed in as well. "The parents should be doing the parenting, not the oldest children," one commenter pointed out, highlighting the ongoing debate about whether the Duggar family's dynamic places too much pressure on their eldest daughters. Fans are also speculating that without Jana's presence, the Duggar Arkansas home, often referred to as the TTH or the Big House, could undergo significant changes. Some wonder if this shift will force the younger Duggar children to become more independent, or if the burden will simply pass to another sibling. Others even suggested a different reality altogether, where Jana and the other older sisters would have left home at 18 to live their own lives without being saddled with the responsibility of raising their siblings. While Jana herself has not publicly confirmed her move to Nebraska, many believe that she's already living there with her husband Stephen. With her departure, the question remains, will the Duggar household adapt to life without Jana? Or will her absence expose cracks in the family structure that have long been held together by her sacrifices? What do you think? Is Jana Duggar's departure likely to cause a rift in the family, or will the Duggar parents finally step up and fill the void she left behind? Next, we're diving into a hot topic in the Duggar family, the future courtships of James, Jackson, and Johannah Duggar. With Jana recently tying the knot and Jason now engaged, many fans are left wondering when these younger Duggar will follow suit. Will we see a courtship announcement soon? Let's break down the speculation and fan theories about who could be next to walk down the aisle. Now that Jana Duggar has finally married Stephen Wissmann, the spotlight has shifted to her younger siblings. Fans have been speculating about when James, Jackson, and Johannah Duggar might enter courtships and eventually get married. With James being 23, Jackson 20, and Johannah, also known as Hani, turning 18 this year, it seems like the right time for at least one of them to start making moves toward courtship. Let's start with James Duggar, who's sparked interest for years. Many fans believe James might have had something going on with Lauren Caldwell, especially after that infamous oven scene a few years ago. James and Lauren were caught in a somewhat flirty exchange while baking a smash cake for a gender reveal, with his younger sister Jenny tagging along as the third wheel. It seemed like a typical Duggar pre-courtship moment, but nothing official ever came of it. Since then, Lauren has been in and out of relationships, including a called-off engagement, leaving fans to wonder if James is still waiting in the wings or if he's moved on. Given his age, some speculate that James could already be in a pre-courtship phase, and we might hear a courtship announcement in the next year or two. Jackson Duggar, on the other hand, seems to be in no rush to settle down. At just 20 years old, he's still pretty young by Duggar standards, and some fans believe he'll remain single for the next few years. Jackson's personality, described by some as annoying in that fourth-grade boy way, might make him a bit of a wild card in the courtship process. However, Duggar family traditions often lead to courtships in the early 20s, so it's possible Jackson could surprise everyone. Some fans have even speculated about potential matches, including the youngest Wissmann daughter, who is 17, a close match for Jackson's age. Finally, we have Johanna Duggar, the youngest of the three, who might be the next to enter a courtship despite her youth. Fans have noticed that Johannah has been in the Duggar family's spotlight more recently, which could be a sign that she's nearing courtship age. While it's purely speculative, there's a strong feeling among some fans that Honey could be the next to get married, especially considering the Duggar history of their daughters marrying in their late teens or early 20s. One fan theory is that the Duggar parents might already be behind the scenes, arranging potential matches for their children as soon as they hit age 15. The Duggar family has long been known for courting traditions, where parental involvement is key in finding the right match within their religious community. So, it's very possible that James, Jackson, or even Johannah could be on the verge of a courtship announcement sooner than we think. So, what do you think? Will James be the next Duggar to enter a courtship, or could Johannah surprise everyone and beat her brothers to the altar? And what about Jackson? Will he wait a little longer to settle down? That marks a huge milestone, and one that we can't help but talk about. It's been 1,000 days since Josh Duggar was found guilty of his heinous crimes. Yep, you heard that right. 1,000 days have passed since the scandal shook the world, but for Josh, those days probably feel much longer behind bars. Can you believe it's been that long? It feels like just yesterday we were glued to our screens, obsessively checking for updates when news broke that the car dealership he worked for was raided. It's crazy to think how much has happened since then, yet somehow it all feels so fresh in our minds. For those of you who followed every detail, whether it was through Reddit, news articles, or this channel, it's almost surreal how quickly the time has flown by. And let's not forget that infamous mugshot. The smirk. It's the chilling grin that makes you question what's going on behind those eyes. Many have pointed out that it's the kind of smile that's disturbingly common among psychopaths, so smug, so detached from reality. For the rest of us, it's been 1,000 days, but hopefully for him, it feels more like a million. Of course, Josh has spent the better part of these 1,000 days appealing his conviction. He's tried everything, using all the resources, time, and money he can to fight his way out of prison, but justice is holding firm, and even the highest courts are turning him down. And let's be real, there's some satisfaction in knowing his repeated attempts are falling flat. And while Josh sits behind bars, Jana Duggar is still out there waiting patiently for her man to come home. Many of us feel heartbroken for her. She's been led to believe that her only worth is through procreation, trapped in a belief system that's failed her as a woman. Fans have long wished for her to wake up and realize that God wouldn't blame her for walking away from the nightmare that is Josh. The craziest part, the moment that sentence was announced, it was like a collective cheer across social media. Reddit nearly crashed from the excitement of everyone waiting on edge to hear his fate. And while 1,000 days might feel fast to us, you can only hope for Josh that time is crawling by. Maybe he's even learned the hard way in there. Many have speculated if he's had a taste of prison justice. As we hit this 1,000-day milestone, we're toasting to the hope that Josh Duggar stays where he belongs for much, much longer. The countdown for his eventual release may be ticking, but here's to wishing he spends a million more days behind bars. Let us know in the comments what you remember most about the trial, and if you think Anna will ever break free from Josh's shadow. Finally, we're taking a nostalgic and cringe-worthy trip down memory lane as we revisit one of the most talked-about moments from Counting On, Ben Seawald awkwardly asking Jessa Duggar to court. It's a scene filled with teenage awkwardness, styrofoam cups, and Duggar family traditions. But beyond the cringe, was Jessa more excited about getting married than about marrying Ben? Let's break it all down for fans of Counting On. The scene where Ben Seawald nervously asked Jim Bob for permission to court Jessa is unforgettable. For all the wrong reasons. Ben, at the tender age of 17 or 18, stood awkwardly, holding a styrofoam cup as if it were a lifeline, while Jessa, unfazed, sat there with a cool and somewhat indifferent expression. The whole situation screams, staged for TV. But what's even more telling is how uncomfortable everyone seemed, except Jessa. It's as if she was already thinking, let's get this over with. Fans have noted that Jessa's excitement didn't seem to come from Ben himself, but rather from the idea of finally escaping the Duggar household. With Jill already married, Jessa was eager to follow in her footsteps. In a world where Duggar daughters were groomed to become wives and mothers as quickly as possible, the pressure to get married was immense. Some speculate that Jessa saw Ben as her ticket out, a way to be the bride and start her adult life. And let's not forget the infamous competition. Jessa not only had to keep up with her sisters, but also with the Bates family, who were family friends. Fans have joked that in any other setting, Jessa and Ben would have dated for a few months and then moved on. Their awkward courtship proposal scene only fueled these speculations, as it felt more like a teenage high school relationship than a deep, meaningful connection. Fast forward to their engagement proposal, which wasn't much better. Compared to Jill's exotic proposal in Nepal or Joy's picturesque moment in the woods, Jessa and Ben were shoved into a cramped, sweaty back room with Jim Bob awkwardly filming on his phone. It was as if the romance was lost in the shuffle of Duggar rules and reality TV expectations. And who could forget Michelle Duggar's coaching on how Jessa should react to Ben's romantic words? It was clear even back then that Jessa wasn't fully invested. Fans have pointed out how emotionless she seemed during these milestones, contrasting her reactions with her sisters, who appeared more genuinely excited during their own courtships. Looking back, many fans have said the entire situation felt more like a business transaction. Ben gained Duggar clout, and Jessa got her ticket out. Had they not been in the world of fundamentalism, Jessa might have realized that she needed someone more challenging and stimulating, while Ben might have moved on to someone who idolized him the way the Duggar lifestyle seemed to encourage. One scene that still makes viewers cringe is Michelle Duggar sweetly talking to Ben's mom, Gwen, about how their kids would soon be married and start having babies. Gwen's horrified expression said it all. Within a year, Ben and Jessa were already parents, proving Michelle wasn't wrong, but fans still feel for Gwen, who seemed to be realizing the enormity of her son's decision in that moment. The awkwardness wasn't limited to the Seawalds. Jim Bob also had his own uncomfortable moments, especially when he pulled Michelle aside and asked her to come over here for a sec, with a tone that felt out of place for the scene. Every part of that courtship moment felt forced and, well, cringeworthy. So, what do you think? Was Jessa really in love with Ben, or was she more excited about escaping her sheltered life? Did the awkwardness of their courtship reflect deeper issues in their relationship? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to The Fame for more deep dives into Duggar family moments, awkward flashbacks, and the latest updates on their lives. See you next time.